We're live.
Awesome. So hello to everybody who is watching this after the fact, or those of you who are watching the live stream right now. We're just waiting for the candidates to arrive, and we'll be starting the interview promptly at 8:35 CST, 9:35 EST. So we're just going to give her a couple minutes. All right, so Anna's coming in. Awesome. Hi, Anna. You're on mute. I don't know if you're talking or not.
Hi, I missed you guys. How are you?
It's okay. All right, so we're gonna get started pretty soon, but I just wanted to give you like an overview of what's gonna happen next. So we're gonna give you 5 minutes to do your speech, and then immediately after you're done with your speech, JJ is gonna take over and do the Q&A portion of the interview. And then after that, after all the questions have been asked and answered, I'll come in and I'll tell you about what to expect next after the interview. Sound good?
Sounds good.
All right. So I'm gonna let you take the last 2 minutes, collect yourself, breathe, anything, and then we'll start at 8:35 or 9:35.
Okay.
EST. Perfect. All right. All right, Anna, you can start whenever you're ready.
Okay. Hi, I'm 𝗃𝗃, and at the beginning of this year, I made this promise that I wanted to continue community building, enrich others around me to promote diversity and inclusion, make it in a safe space for others, and to open opportunities to explore identity and purpose, and to continue self-growth mentally and physically. My huge passion and goal in life is to bring out the best in people and impact people's lives. From participating both on campus and online conferences, I'd like to share fundamentals of educational and interpersonal engagement, finding personal development despite the pandemic. I want to create safe spaces and allow students to have strong ties to Filipino history, to current social issues, or even finding a purpose in life. I would love to create educational content that remains impactful for the MAFA student body, where they can take resources and provide a networks that have ties to from Filipino orgs across the US and bring it back to their affiliated orgs. And that creates a space for self-discovery and empowerment to find your voice. No matter what year you are, I want to be that person to leverage and navigate resources for you. My first year was an absolute time of navigating. I was super lost and uncertain, but I was also ambitious and career navigating. I wanted to find mentors and even breaking out of my shell for self-empowerment, even when there was more uncertainty and findings in the future. I have huge experience and being active in the diversity advocacy department at my school. I currently serve as the community outreach chair for APAC. And I also started the Diversity and Inclusion College Council Committee because I wanted to talk to the dean and create changes when I saw microaggressions and racism on my campus, and I wanted to make changes within the classroom. I would also like to implement more activism and allyship that ties to Filipino-X relations. I also participated in Leaders for Social Change program in Memphis, Tennessee. And I'd love to apply to MAFA and encouraging students to become great leaders for the future generation and drive deep conversational engagement. I'd love to incorporate interactive learning activities that allow students to be in simulator situations related to social issues or historical topics, or a game where it teaches students how to come up with their own elevator pitch for networking events, or even so this identity wheel game where they can have their own self-discovery on self-identity. I also am currently interning for UniPro, a Filipino organization, and I would love to bring in valuable mentors and alumni, not just from Chicago, actually other parts from the US, and be a network to students within our MAFA community. And what I learned from UniPro is that I'd love to provide documents and videos about Filipino-X history. I'd love to incorporate a mentoring program within MAFA, and even so, have a mini capstone schools. I'd love to incorporate vulnerable and MAFA for the rest of the semester and up till June. Despite the epidemic, I was so driven to keep going and continue my promise that it even led me to help program the recent national online conference that impacted Filipino students across the United States. What I learned from that conference is how to impact students positively and gain vulnerable voices for themselves. I was so eager to even provide resources, networks, and speakers for MAFA after interning. I would from that conference, and also even so continue collaborate with several regional organizations across the US. It truly amazes me to see young people have active minds and drive for making things come to life. I have strong feelings for MAFA to think deeper and to apply to our everyday lives, to society and for future visions, and for our communities to inspire and to pursue. So now I want to make a new promise that I want MAFA to feel enriched and have self-discovery for the people in our community. I do not want to limit the resources that I have just at my end. I would love to expand on topics, but I also want to hear from the community of like what they want to learn. I not only serve as the Secretary of Cultural Affairs, but I want to be someone for people to reach out to. I knew when I changed to online classes, I need to be redirected to a new resource. And MAFA did that for me, but now I want to be a resource for someone else. As for the future Secretary of Cultural Affairs, I envision MAFA as a place to unify and engage the Filipino community. I like to leverage vulnerable conversations through roundtables, implement interviews, and unpack social issues. So thank you, anyone who nominated me. I really appreciate your time.
Sorry, I had to do the time. I think I gave you a little bit more time, but it's okay.
Sorry, I didn't notice.
Thank you for your speech, Anna. Now we're going to go into a series of questions and answers derived from the position-specific questions in the application. We're going to allocate a maximum of 15 minutes for this portion of the interview. And so for the first question, as Secretary of Cultural Affairs, in what ways will you promote cultural awareness and enhance members' knowledge of current events and issues happening in the Filipinx and Filipinx American community?
Can you repeat that? You kind of cut off for a sec.
Oh, sure thing. As Secretary of Cultural Affairs, in what ways will you promote cultural awareness and enhance members' knowledge of current events and issues happening in the Filipinx and Filipinx American community?
Well, actually, I thought of this idea of like where I want to incorporate some kind of interview style or like podcast idea. It can be shown as like a video on the MAFA page. I talk an interview with a speaker or a guest from another affiliated org or a professional. So I'd love to incorporate that and hear like their personal experiences.
Awesome. Second question, what are your goals for the MAFA blog next year or this year? And what changes will you make if necessary?
I'd love to incorporate a lot of more resources such as like nonprofits or have connections with other affiliated orgs across the US. So off a page, I would like to provide links or resources affiliated with those nonprofits so the students can look more into them. And as well as also some contact information if they would like to talk with those people that we collaborate or have networks to.
Awesome. Third question, how will you approach issues or topics, especially through the MAFA blog?
Well, I would definitely incorporate first a community wellness check-in just because I just want to see where my community is and how comfortable they feeling. But I think what I learned through conversations and talking with students, it's asking what do they want to learn and ask them like, what are their opinions? Some like rules and guidelines to keep it a safe space and let them know that they're like, be aware of like what they say. I think we're able to have vulnerable conversations as long as we also acknowledge of like where our community is and how the state of the world is. So, yeah.
All right. Next question. How do you plan on encouraging others to read and or participate in the MAFA blog?
Well, definitely I first want to like, I think I want to create this survey of what do you want to see in the MAFA page? We all have great ideas, but it's also like, we should hear what our community wants on the page. So I think providing a survey of like, what would you like to see in the page? Would you like more videos? Would you like more links to resources? And also like just asking of like basically just what they want to see.
And for the last question, the want and need for more professional dialogue between MAFA members has been increasing steadily. How would you go about fulfilling this need?
Can you repeat? It cut off again for me on my end. Sorry about that.
The question, the want and need for more professional dialogue between MAFA members has been increasing steadily. How would you go about fulfilling this need?
I would probably personally reach out to professionals and networks and talk to them beforehand. I would talk to them even before we have workshops or roundtables to see what do we want to talk about, what is comfortable, what is okay, but what is also impactful for students. What do they want to gain out of, you know what I mean? And also talk to whoever the speaker or guest or whatever we talk about, like provide links, resources, contacts, LinkedIn's even so they have like another resource or network to go beyond that.
Thank you for your answers, Anna. Now I'm going to transition over to Cedric, and he will conclude the interview and discuss next steps for you.
Thanks, JJ. So Anna, you might be wondering what the next steps are for the application process. And so after this interview concludes, we're going to be posting this to the YouTube. And then after all of the candidate interviews have been completed, we're going to be sending your application along with your resume to the exec boards of MAFA Sphere. So then after that, voting will commence. Voting will complete on Friday, July 24th, and you'll know by then whether or not you've been selected. Do you have any questions, Anna, for us?
No, I think I'm good, but thank you very much.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much, Anna, for your time. Feel free to exit the call.
For sure. Have a good one.
You too. Bye. All right, Jay.